The apartment too, Naomi. It makes sense. You never had a head for property.
That apartment was my mother's.
Your mother left you a broken radiator. Let me carry that for you too.
She's still here. You just can't see her.
The settlement sheet was still warm from the printer when Marcus slid it across the table. He did it the way a man deals a winning card. Slow, certain, watching her face for the crack. The apartment too, Naomi, he said. You know it makes sense. You never had a head for property. Naomi Okafor looked down at the paper. Her thumb found the thin gold band on her right hand, her mother's ring, the only thing she'd never taken off in 12 years, and turned it once, quietly, beneath the table where no one could see. The lawyers on his side of the room did not look up. They had done this before. The reasonable voice, the generous smile, the offer that took everything, and called it fairness. She did not sign. She did not shout. She said, "That apartment was my mother's." And Marcus smiled the way people smile when they already own the room. "Your mother," he said, "left you a walk-up with a broken radiator. Let me carry that for you too." What none of them knew, not Marcus, not his 4 attorneys, not even Naomi herself, was that a dead woman had already been inside that courthouse 12 years before. Long before the marriage, long before the day her daughter would need to stand. And she had left something there, waiting. You would have liked Marcus Vale if you'd met him at a dinner. That was the thing people never understood about him afterward. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't slam doors. He brought flowers to Naomi's mother's grave every year on the anniversary, and he stood there with his hands folded, and anyone watching would have thought, what a decent man. He built companies out of small, failing ones. He found the crack in a thing and pressed it until it broke, and then he bought the pieces cheap. It made him wealthy in a glass tower on the west side of the city, 40 floors up, where the light came in clean and cold, and the coffee was always hot. He married Naomi 8 years ago, in a garden, under strung lights. Her mother had died 3 years before the wedding, so her mother never met him. That detail would matter more than anyone could have guessed. Naomi was a school teacher when they met, 3rd grade. She kept a jar of buttons on her desk and let the shy children hold them when they read aloud, because a hand that is busy is a hand that is brave. Marcus found this charming for exactly as long as it took him to find it small. By the time the divorce papers came, he had a way of describing their whole life together as a favor he had done her. The house was his taste, the friends were his friends, and the money, every dollar, he said, had come from him. Every dollar except one apartment. A 3rd floor walk-up on Delaney Street, with a radiator that knocked 3 times and then once when the heat came up, and honest afternoon light that fell across the kitchen floor at 4 o'clock like something poured. Naomi's mother had lived there for 19 years, had died there, in the back bedroom, with her daughter holding her hand. She'd left it to Naomi, free and clear. It was the one thing in the world that was purely, only hers. And in the last week of the divorce, Marcus decided he wanted it. Not because he needed it. He could have bought the whole block. He wanted it because Naomi had said, once, quietly, in a mediation room, that it was the only place she still felt her mother. And Marcus had learned long ago that the fastest way to end a fight was to take the thing the other person could not bear to lose. Then they stop fighting. Then they sign. It's about closure, he told his lead attorney, a smooth man named Boyd, from the firm of Ellison and Boyd. She needs to let go of the past. I'm helping her. Boyd nodded. Boyd was paid to nod. Naomi turned her mother's ring on her finger and said nothing. She had learned, in 8 years, that saying nothing kept the peace. And she had learned, in the last 4 months, that keeping the peace had cost her everything anyway. So she stopped keeping it. That was the first thing her mother could not have predicted. Or maybe, Naomi would think later, it was the one thing her mother had counted on all along. Naomi went home that night to Delaney Street. She climbed the 3 flights. She let herself in, The radiator knocked. 3, then 1, and the heat came up, and she stood in the dark kitchen without turning on the light, because at that hour, the street lamp fell through the window in a way that her mother used to say made the whole room feel forgiven. She sat at the small table. She poured a glass of water and didn't drink it. Her mother's name had been Adaeze. Everyone called her Ada. She had come to this country with 2 suitcases and a law degree that no one here would honor, and she had spent 9 years cleaning offices at night before a single firm would look at her credentials twice. When they finally did, she became the kind of lawyer other lawyers were afraid of. Quiet, exact, patient as stone. She had a phrase she used. Naomi could still hear it. The document doesn't shout. The document waits. Naomi had hated the law, a little, because the law had taken her mother's evenings for so many years. She'd become a teacher, partly to be the opposite of it, to work in a room full of noise and crayon and forgiveness, instead of a room full of paper. She turned the gold band on her finger. She had believed, for most of her life, that her mother had not loved Marcus. That was the story Naomi told herself in the bad hours. Her mother had died before the wedding, yes, but Naomi had introduced them, in a way, had brought Marcus's photograph to the hospice, had said, "Mom, I think he's the one." And her mother, so weak by then she could barely lift her head, had looked at the photograph for a long time. A long, long time. And then she had said only one thing. "He has a careful face." Naomi had taken it as approval. Careful, steady, reliable. She understood now, sitting in the dark, that her mother had meant something else entirely. Her mother had seen him, in a photograph, from a hospice bed, in under a minute. She had seen the whole of him, the smooth voice and the pressing thumb and the day, years off, when he would come for the last thing his wife owned. And Naomi, 29 and in love, had heard careful and thought it was a blessing. She pressed the ring to her lips without meaning to. Somewhere in the building a pipe ticked. The light on the floor shifted an inch, and Naomi made a decision that surprised her, sitting there. The kind of decision that arrives fully formed, as though it has been waiting behind a door all your life for you to finally turn the knob. She would not give him the apartment. She would go to court. She would stand up, and she would lose, probably. Boyd was good, and Marcus had 4 of him, and she had a public defender's worth of savings and a jar of buttons. But she would stand up. She did not know that standing up was the only thing required. She did not know it was the trigger. If you've ever loved someone who saw the truth before you did, a mother, a grandmother, someone who tried to warn you gently and let you learn it your own way, take a second right now and type the word "mom" in the comments. I read them, every one. And if this story is holding you, subscribe and stay with me to the end, because what was waiting in that courthouse changes everything you think you understand about the woman who left Naomi that ring. Now, let's go back. The hearing was set for a Tuesday in the Hartwell County Courthouse, in a small courtroom on the 4th floor that smelled of floor wax and old radiators. Marcus arrived with Boyd and 3 associates. They filled the whole plaintiff's table and half the row behind it, and they set out their binders in a way that made the sound of a machine being assembled. Naomi arrived alone, in a gray dress, with a single folder and her mother's ring. She had no lawyer. She had spent the money on the appraisal Marcus's side demanded, and there was nothing left. And so she sat at the wide, empty defendant's table, with her folder squared in front of her, and her hands folded on top of it, the way her mother used to fold hers. Boyd rose first. He was good. Everyone in the room could tell he was good. The ease of him, the way he thanked the judge for her time, as though time were his to give. He explained that this was a simple matter of equitable distribution. He explained that Mr. Vale had, through the years, made substantial contributions to the maintenance and improvement of the Delaney Street property. He produced receipts: a plumber, a roofer, a window replaced, small things Marcus had paid for early in the marriage, when he was still performing kindness. Mr. Vale, Boyd said, seeks only what is fair. And then he turned, and he looked at Naomi across the room, and he said something that was designed to be heard by the judge and felt by Naomi. We understand this property carries sentimental weight for Miss Okafor. But sentiment, he said, gently, so gently, is not title. and my client has bent over backward to be reasonable. He simply asks that the court not let feelings stand in for law. The judge, a woman named Priya Ansari, with reading glasses pushed up into her gray hair and a way of listening that gave nothing away, made a small note. Naomi felt the room tilt toward Marcus, the way rooms do. She felt herself becoming, in that room, exactly what he had spent 8 years making her, the emotional one, the impractical one, the teacher with the buttons who never had a head for property. Boyd sat. He did not look at her again. That was the cruelest part, the not looking. She had been dismissed so completely that she was no longer worth a glance. Naomi looked down at the folder. Inside was nothing that could save her. A copy of the deed, her mother's death certificate, a photograph of the kitchen at 4 o'clock. And she heard her mother's voice, from somewhere very close. The document doesn't shout, the document waits. She didn't know what it meant. She had never known what it meant. But she stood up. Judge Ansari looked over her glasses. Ms. Okafor, do you have counsel? No, Your Honor. Do you wish to respond? Naomi's mouth was dry. She turned the ring on her finger once, beneath the table's edge. I do, she said. My mother left me that apartment. She left it to me, and no one else. I don't have receipts for a roofer. I have, her voice caught, and she made it steady. I have the fact that she wanted me to have it. I don't know how to prove that in a way this court accepts. But I'm standing here saying it, because if I sit down and stay quiet, then he's right about me. And I'm done letting him be right about me. It was not a legal argument. Boyd's associates exchanged the smallest of glances. Judge Ansari studied her for a long moment. Then the judge said something strange. Ms. Okafor, your mother. Her name was Adaeze Okafor? Naomi blinked. Yes, Your Honor. How did you... But the judge had already turned to the clerk. Give me a moment, she said. And she rose and left the bench and walked out through the door behind it. The room did not understand what had happened. Neither did Naomi. The recess lasted 11 minutes. They were the longest 11 minutes of Naomi's life. Marcus leaned back in his chair and murmured to Boyd, and Boyd checked his watch, an expensive watch, worn loose the way rich men wear them, and shrugged, because a judge stepping out was nothing. Judges stepped out. It meant nothing. When Judge Ansari came back, she was not alone. Behind her walked an older man in a cardigan, the county's records clerk, carrying a gray archival box with a chain of custody log taped to the lid. He set it on the clerk's desk with both hands, the way you set down something that is not yours. Judge Ansari took the bench. She put her glasses on. I want to place something on the record, she said, and I want it done carefully, so counsel understands the procedure. She opened a slim folder in front of her. This court maintains a depository for wills and sealed instruments, as permitted under state statute. Members of the public, most often through their attorneys, may deposit a sealed testamentary instrument with the clerk of court, to be held and opened only upon a stated triggering condition. Some sit here for decades, some are never opened at all. The depositor sets the terms. She turned a page. 12 years ago, an instrument was deposited in this county under the name Adaeze Okafor. The depositing attorney certified it. The seal has never been broken, and the condition of its opening was recorded as follows. She read it slowly, so that every word landed alone. To be opened by this court only in the event that my daughter, Naomi Okafor, appears before it as a party to a proceeding concerning property. The courtroom went completely still. Naomi felt the blood leave her face. She reached, without knowing she was doing it, for the gold band on her hand, and she held it, and she stared at the gray box the old man had carried in, and she thought, 12 years. 12 years ago there had been no divorce, no Marcus, not really. She had barely known him 12 years ago. 12 years ago her mother was alive. Her mother had walked into this courthouse, or sent someone, and left a sealed thing here, with an instruction that read like a prophecy. In the event that my daughter appears before it as a party to a proceeding concerning property, her mother had not known she'd marry Marcus. Her mother had not known the apartment would be the thing they fought over. Her mother had only known one thing, apparently, had known it the way she'd known it from a photograph in a hospice bed, that the day would come, that her daughter would one day stand in a room like this, alone, with someone reasonable and smiling trying to take the last thing that was hers. And she had made sure that when that day came, whatever the year, whatever the property, whoever the man, there would be something here, waiting. Boyd was on his feet. "Your Honor, we have no notice of any such instrument." "We object to—" "Mr. Boyd," said Judge Ansari, without heat, "you are objecting to the existence of a document you have not seen. Sit down. I intend to inspect it in camera before a single word of it enters this record. Nothing improper will happen in my courtroom, to anyone." Boyd sat down, and Naomi stood at the empty defendant's table with her hand pressed over her mother's ring, and did not breathe, and waited to find out what a woman who had been dead for 11 years had wanted to say to her, from inside a sealed envelope she had never known existed. The judge did not open it in front of them. She took the box into her chambers, with the clerk and a court reporter, and the door closed, and the courtroom sat in a silence so complete you could hear the old radiator against the wall knock its 3, and then its 1, as the heat came up. Naomi sat down at last. Her legs would not hold her. Across the room, Marcus had stopped smiling. He was watching the chamber door with a small crease between his brows, the first uncertainty she had seen on his face in 8 years. He reached into his jacket, an old habit, and his hand closed on nothing and came out empty. Later, Naomi would learn what was in his wallet that he'd reached for and not shown anyone. A photograph, soft at the corners, of a small house with a porch. His mother's house. The one he grew up in. The one the bank took when he was 9. The year everything he loved was declared not his by men in suits who were only, they said, being reasonable. He had spent his whole life becoming the man in the suit, so that no one could ever do that to him again. And in becoming that man, he had become the thing he'd feared, had learned to do to others the exact arithmetic that had been done to him. None of that excused him. But it was true, and it sat there in his jacket the whole time, unshown. The door opened. Judge Ansari came out first, and her face had changed. Something in it had gone quiet and careful, the way a person's face changes when they have read something that was not written for them. She took the bench. She set 2 documents in front of her. She looked at Naomi for a long moment before she spoke, and when she spoke, her voice was different than it had been. "Ms. Okafor, I have inspected the deposited instrument. It is authentic, properly witnessed, and it is legally operative. It consists of 2 parts. I am going to read them into the record." She lifted the first document. "The first is a trust instrument, executed by your mother 12 years ago, and funded through her attorney's escrow. It establishes an irrevocable trust, the Okafor Family Trust, and into that trust, 12 years ago, she placed the property at Delaney Street. Title to that apartment has not, in fact, been held in your name, Ms. Okafor. It has been held by the trust. You are its sole beneficiary, and the terms of the trust are explicit." She read them. "This property is held for the sole benefit of my daughter, Naomi Okafor, and may not be sold, transferred, encumbered, assigned, or divided by marriage, by divorce, by judgment, or by the demand of any spouse or third party. It is hers. It was always going to be only hers." Naomi heard, distantly, one of Marcus's associates exhale. The apartment was not marital property. It never had been. It had not belonged to Naomi in a way that a court could touch. It had belonged to a trust her mother built 12 years ago, sealed against exactly this day, against a man who did not yet exist, against a fight that had not yet been imagined. Boyd did not rise. There was nothing to rise for. You cannot object to a wall. Judge Ansari set down the first document. She lifted the second, and this one was smaller, a single sheet, handwritten, and the judge held it for a moment as though weighing whether it belonged to the court or to the woman standing before her, and then she made her choice.
"There is no room for doubt
The
in
trust,"
this matter.
she said
I
quietly,
have made my
"is the
decision.
law of this matter, and it is
This cost went
dispositive.
progeny to Mexico.
This," she looked at the handwritten page, "is not a legal instrument. Your mother attached it. She asked that it be read to you, if you were ever standing here. I am going to honor that." The judge lowered her glasses, and she read in a plain voice
The person
the words a
processing.
dying woman had written 12 years before, in the back bedroom on Delaney Street, at 4 o'clock. when the honest light came across the floor. Naomi, if they are reading this to you, then the day I was afraid of has come, and you are standing in a room full of people who have decided you are the kind of woman who gives things up. You are not. I saw his face. I know you thought I was only tired that day, but I saw it clearly, the way I've seen 100 careful faces across 100 tables. Careful is not kind. Careful is the man who takes slowly, so you'll thank him for the pace. I could have told you not to marry. You would not have listened, and you would have been right not to. A life is yours to spend. So I did the other thing. I did the thing I knew how to do. I built you a wall no reasonable man can talk his way through, and I hid it here. And I trusted that one day you would do the one thing that opens it. You would stand up. The apartment was never the gift, my love. Standing up was. The apartment is just the thing I used to make sure you'd finally do it. The document waits, and so did I. I always will. Mama. The courtroom did not make a sound. Naomi stood with the light from the tall window falling across the defendant's table, and she held her mother's ring, and she did not wipe the tears that came, because for the first time in 12 years, she did not need to hide anything from anyone in the room. Judge Ansari ruled from the bench, briefly and completely. The Delaney Street property was held in an irrevocable trust,
Yes, 17
predating
years.
the marriage by 4 years. It was not, and could never have been,
distant-
marital property. Mr. Vale's claim was denied
No
in its
information
entirety.
is impromptu.
The court noted, for the record, that it found no evidence of the substantial contributions claimed. The receipts amounted to routine repairs, made freely, years earlier, and repairs to a home you live in
20
do not buy you the home. She set down her pen. Then she looked at Marcus, not unkindly, but directly. Mr. Vale,
I must
she
remind
said,
everyone
the
that this is
reasonable
a court
voice
of
is the
law.
most expensive lie a person can learn to tell. This matter is
My
concluded.
sex
We're
confirms for I
adjourned.
remain.
Marcus did not argue. That was the thing Naomi would remember. He did not signal Boyd to appeal, did not lean over to whisper strategy. He sat very still at the plaintiff's table, and his hand went, once more, to the jacket over his heart, and closed on the photograph no one else could see. He was 9 years old again, watching reasonable men carry his mother's furniture into the street. He had become one of them, so completely that he had walked into a courthouse to do to Naomi what had been done to him, and only now, with a dead woman's handwriting still hanging in the air, did he seem to see his own careful face for what it was. He rose. He gathered his coat. He walked to the aisle. And for one moment he stopped beside Naomi, close enough to speak, close enough that Boyd tensed, and he looked at her, and whatever he had planned to say, he did not say it. He said only, quietly, "She was right about me." And he left. Naomi did not answer. Some truths don't need you to hold the door for them. They walk out on their own. She went home to Delaney Street that afternoon. She climbed the 3 flights. She let herself in. The radiator knocked, 3, then 1, and the heat came up, and Naomi stood in the kitchen and watched the light come across the floor. It was almost 4. She set the trust document and the handwritten page on the small table, side by side, where her mother used to sit. The legal one, exact and unbreakable, that had held the walls up for 12 years. And the human one, the single sheet, that had been the reason for the walls at all. She thought about the years she had believed her mother didn't love Marcus, and had simply died too soon to stop the wedding. She understood now that her mother had never tried to stop it. Her mother had done something harder, and quieter, and infinitely more patient. She had let her daughter live her own life, make her own choice, learn her own lesson in her own time. And she had built, in secret, a floor that would be there when her daughter finally fell. Because that is the thing a mother knows that a daughter refuses to believe, that she can see the ending from the beginning, and love you anyway, and never say I told you so, only stand up, I made sure you could. The light reached the center of the floor, 4 o'clock, the forgiven hour. Naomi picked up the handwritten page and read the last line again, the one the judge had read aloud in a room full of strangers. The document waits, and so did I. I always will. And Naomi Okafor, standing in the kitchen that was hers, that had always only been hers, held her mother's ring against her lips and whispered the only thing there was left to say. "How did you know?" The radiator knocked. 3. then one. And the light held. Ada Okafor never got to see her daughter stand up. She just made certain that when the day came, the floor would hold. That's the quiet work of the people who love us most, the ones who see the truth before we can bear it, and don't force it on us, and simply prepare a place for us to land. If Naomi's mother reminded you of someone who protected you in ways you only understood years later, tell me about them in the comments. I read everyone, and I answer when I can. And if this story moved you, subscribe and stay close. There's someone, right now, quietly building a wall to keep you safe. The least we can do is remember them out loud. I'll see you in the next one.